Welcome to the Investor Den Blueprint to Financial Freedom podcast, where we dive deep into the minds of the biggest and most successful entrepreneurs, passive income investors, and capital raisers in the world. Our mission is to equip you with the essential tools, the mindset, and the skill sets necessary to conquer yourself, transform your life, and master your finances. Join us as we unravel the secrets and the strategies and wisdom of these industry experts, providing you with the invaluable insights and action steps that you can start implementing today. It's time to reclaim control of your time, allowing you to live a life of unrivaled success, happiness, and fulfillment. Get ready to unlock a world of growth and abundance that awaits you. Welcome to the Investor Den Blueprint to Financial Freedom podcast, where your journey towards financial empowerment begins. All right, so welcome to another episode of the Blueprint to Financial Freedom with Jorge Fajardo, sponsored by KPI Capital Partners. And today we are very excited to have a special guest, someone that has been in the real estate space for over 30 years and has done it all from brokerage, investor, and many other innovative ways. And so we're very excited to talk to our guest today and share a lot of knowledge and provide value as we usually do here in Investor Den. And so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show, Joe Killinger. Joe, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and share your story and your experience and your vast knowledge with our audience.
George, thank you very much for having me on. Thank you for that kind intro, but you're right. I started, there was a gray hair and I made a lot of mistakes and I'm trying to keep everybody else from making those same mistakes. There's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah, you know what they say, you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes oftentimes. Now, a quick way to shorten that learning curve is to learn from others' mistakes. And so that's one of the things that we try to focus on here is sharing our stories, our journeys, and other experts such as yourself, so that hopefully our audience can take away some nuggets from that and shorten that learning curve and really just expedite their path to success. So yes,
With education now, because we got shows like yours that are out there that people are tuning into. There's just a lot that I didn't have. So back then it was, you had to make the mistakes. And I think now you can sit and listen to these videos and you keep from having a lot of those mistakes.
yeah, no, absolutely. And if you want to maybe share your journey, I know you've been in the field for a very long time. How did you get started? And if you want to just walk us through to where you are today.
Yeah, that's a very long story. Let me abbreviated. I grew up in Nebraska and I was on a working farm. My father was a real estate or an auctioneer, and that included real estate. And so I got him as a kid, was watching him grow his business and do his thing. And real estate was always appealing to me. And he had a couple of connections. When I went off to college, I was connected with this individual in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's why I went to the University of Nebraska, Lincoln briefly, then ran out of money. Yeah, it was a long, tough road, but I got in with Woods Brothers Realty in Lincoln, Nebraska. Pace Woods Jr. himself said, "Here, I want to teach you how to cold call." And I said, "Okay." And he went over and got the telephone book and said, "Okay, these people need to talk to a very good person that won't take advantage of them. So start at A's and work your way down." And that's how I started cold calling. It was just I listened to some other people that were doing it as well. So I was only 18 at the time. So it was I got some reading glasses I could wear and part my hair to the side. Really tried to look as old as I could, but I looked like I was about 12. Never
The opposite, right?
Yeah, now I'm the exact opposite, right? But if I got glasses, I don't wear them. So yeah, but it really, I got the bug. But like I said, I ran out of money, or my family ended up losing the farm. So couldn't go home because they moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with my little sister. So I went home and went back, saw my family and just kept going, ended up in California, found a place to live, started doing working Stride Right shoes at the Laguna Hills Mall. I know all about children's shoes now. But, and then I would do telemarketing at night. And so I wasn't too bad at it because of my cold calling experience, but I was bad enough at it that they put me in the computer room, and turns out I'm worse with computers now too, though. But I got, I just knew I wanted to get into real estate. So I ended up started taking classes at night and wherever I could and just really focused on real estate and ended up doing a junior position with this residential agent. Quickly learned that residential wasn't for me and ended up moving to LA. And there's a lot of junk in between for a few years of I had no money, was living on macaroni and cheese but ended up getting my back into the real estate industry. It's a big auction company. And they ended up going public, fudged some numbers in an IPO, got caught. I got moved into a closing department that the guy that is now my business partner of 20 some years, George Pino, he runs our commercial brokerage company here in LA. And we became friends. And then he ended up laying me off. And then he got laid off a couple of weeks later, and we started competitive auction company. And it turned out to do very well. It was a number 2 auction company in the Western region within 18 months. And then we started an investment company, and then we were doing the auctions. Once that kind of piddled out, we ended up doing a commercial brokers international is our company we have now. And George runs that for us. We have Icon Capital. That's a commercial real estate mortgage company. And we have commercial real estate affiliate network. It's a group of members that are all independent commercial real estate agents. Most of them are full service. Some of them focus on retail around the country. So if you need a brokerage around the country, we've got a good connection for you. And I do this, the joekillinger.co thing. It's a website I have. And a lot of it, George, like I was saying, is all geared around telling the stories that I had, that I made mistakes in hopes that, we've got to get the younger generation involved, how we can help them do it. And so I really focus on education. I have a YouTube channel under my name as well. If you go on the website, you can find the YouTube channel. And that's performing very well as well.
Yeah,
So,
and we'll actually put a lot of that information here on the screen so that
right.
anybody that wants to look you up and learn from, from your stories and your past successes and failures, they can definitely log in and start to follow you
Yeah.
because
Yeah. It's that those lessons I glazed over a lot of this because it is a very long story, but I had some failure. I tried doing home flipping in the early 90s, and we all know how that would go, how that ended. We ended up breaking even, but I was living in the house working on construction, which I don't recommend anybody does. I was in the house. I'd work on it with the crew and I'd sleep in the back room. And then finally I get to where I had to do that back room. I goes, get in another room. It just wasn't a good life. And there's better ways to do it. So yeah.
yeah, and there's an underlying theme there that resonates with me, and it's something that I in my personal life also go by, which is the fact that nowadays I feel like when people encounter some sort of adversity or difficult times, they tend to want to give up or to quit, and you're living proof that through your tenacity and just refusing to quit, you begin to evolve and begin to grow into the position that you're in now. So I think that's a very valuable lesson there because you're always going to encounter some sort of adversity and like I like to say, just challenges, right? And that's the whole point is challenges are there to be overcome. And what I like about your story is the fact that you didn't just focus on just one area, but you've continued to evolve. And even though you still have the brokerage that you've grown, you've also moved into the investment space. And something that we run into that I'd like to see if maybe you could share your insights into this is with a lot of real estate professionals that get started from the agent space, just being a real estate agent representing buyers and sellers. I find that they have a very difficult time transitioning into the investor, becoming the principal or becoming a passive investor into a syndication or other projects. And they just see the opportunity, money pass through their hands, millions and millions of dollars of transactions that other people are profiting from. And they just seem to be afraid to take that leap into the other step. Or into the other side. And so what would be your insight into that? What advice would you give for a broker, for an agent that's been wanting to make that transition, but just there's something holding them back from that?
Yeah. And I see that on a daily basis, right? There's a joke around, there's a company out here in LA used to be, or he sold, it's now all the Sotheby's offices, but it was Fred Sands Realtors. And Fred Sands was one of the largest independents across the country at the time. And he goes, Joe, when a residential or a real estate agent retires, he didn't say a commercial or residential. We said, when a real estate agent retired, he goes, when they die. He goes, a lot of them just don't save money. They spend. And he goes, I'm trying to get people to invest. They need to take a piece of each commission they have, put it in an account that they don't touch, and build that cash up to where they can go in and buy it, and put enough down that is comfortable. And so you don't have to stress about it. And like I was telling you what I did living in that house, I didn't really have a choice. I was doing that for sweat equity, doing the construction. So it was just, I didn't really have another path, but there's a lot smarter way to go about it. And that's just to not get yourself in a situation where if you lose your property or don't overextend yourself, the stress that brings, and it will affect your daily job. But yeah, you want to set money aside and then focus on it. You're in the business, right? As a real estate agent, you know how to analyze the properties. You see them out there all the time. Don't be afraid to get some friends together and syndicate your first deal. There's tons of ways to do this. But it's scary. George, I'm sure the first property you bought, I don't think we thought we were overpaying so bad. And we bought it was a 10 unit. We bought for $275,000, not a great area of town, sold it like 7 or 8 years later, I think it was, for over $2 million. And so the area just happened to turn. That wasn't our expertise, but that area happened to catch, and it performed very well. But that first not knowing what to do, it's really hard to pull a trigger. And sometimes you just got to make sure you got plenty of money put away or good partners that you can trust. They can help you get through that.
Yeah. I think the key to that is to get off of that transactional roller coaster, right? Yeah. Because you don't know when your next closing is coming and you think it's going to happen and then it gets delayed or it gets extended, pushed back, right. And you're just feels like you can never catch up. And that was one of my primary goals. And I remember I was terrified to do this when we were flipping houses as well. I was afraid to keep them. I felt like if I don't sell this, then I'm not going to have the money I need to cover my bills. And just finally, after educating myself enough and being able to build up that courage, I started doing the BRRRR method, and we refinanced it and we kept it. And by then I was working with investors, and which started with family and friends, just little by little. And as things grew, but I still wasn't making that transition from that transactional aspect to the more passive income. And my only regret now is that I didn't keep more of the houses that I flipped 5-6 years ago, even.
Yeah.
Because I go back and I look at the cash flow they're generating,
I know.
How much they've increased in value. And that's really my main regret is I wish I would have kept more of them. Luckily, I've kept a few and we've grown from there, but man, if you knew then what you know now, right? And
you're in the market for it there in Florida, right? You're getting good appreciation, but if you're in Nebraska, you're not going to have that appreciation. You're not going to have that. It depends on real estate is such a local market that everybody needs to understand that. You've got the blocks around you, several blocks around. You get outside of that, it's a different market. So people have to really understand the market that they're investing in. Otherwise, if you're sitting here looking at YouTube and we're talking about a home in San Francisco or LA, and you're in Colorado, it's not going to work because the appreciation play is so much different there. And the cash flow play is so much because we don't have much cash flow here in California, right? It's mostly appreciation play. So I think you've really got to understand, you've got to be very local market. So it all comes down to education. People that were doing the Airbnbs there were several places across the country that people would buy Airbnbs and they're getting cash flow coming in, they're probably buying another one. And now the Airbnb has slowed down. Those homes are all, and they can't even sell them. They're going back to the bank. Yeah. So you got to, I was interviewing a guy on my YouTube channel. He had 30 of them across Illinois. And I'm like, what are you going to do when the market turns? He goes, I'm going to be fine. He goes, I'm in areas like lakes and tourist destinations. And I'm like, yeah, but 30 homes, that's going to be tough. Last I heard, all of them are gone. He's lost them all.
Oh, wow. That's a shame.
It's got to be a realistic investment. You've got to, we get on this YouTube channel, we hype it up, right? But if you're on this end of it, you're wanting to learn how to invest, you've got to use common sense. I reach out and talk to people, saying, hey, what do you think? There's a lot of people who will help you. Yeah. There's a lot of people that will reach out. I mean, I get DMs on my YouTube channel a lot going, hey, what do you think about should I do this? I'm like, I don't know your market very well, so you got to walk me through it. Even though I might know it, I still want them to go through the process of learning it before, so they tell me what, and then they can work it out. But
Yeah, educating yourself and learning how to underwrite, whether it's a single family, small multifamily, anything up to the large multifamily properties,
yeah,
you have to educate yourself. You have to know how to underwrite properly. And going back to your example with the short-term rentals, these Airbnb properties, I can't tell you how many times we've had properties presented to us based on a cap rate that was underwritten through short-term rental numbers. And no, you have to be conservative and you have to account for, okay, what if I have to just put this as a regular long-term rental? That's the price I'm going to buy it at. I'm not going to buy it at a price where, right now it's a pie in the sky because you don't know how long that's going to last. Regulations change from municipality to municipality, city to city, state to state,
mhm,
and you don't know when the rug's going to be pulled out from under you. So to your point, if maybe that gentleman, obviously just us guessing here, but if maybe would have run on the road more conservatively, where maybe he could have gone back to renting them long-term traditional
mhm.
rentals, then maybe that would have been a different story for him. Who's to say? But yeah, that's a very good point, and that's where the education comes in. So for us here in South Florida, multifamily space, you can't buy anything better than a 4.5 and 5 cap. So we don't buy multifamily in South Florida. We go to North Florida,
Yeah.
Central North Florida, and even out of state. I just got back from Tennessee because the numbers are better there. But then there's always that learning curve where you have to spend some time learning and understanding that market that you want to go into before you jump in.
I'm Jorge Fajardo, the host of Investor Den Blueprint to Financial Freedom podcast. We're a community passionate about creating wealth through passive income investments in real estate, digital assets, as well as luxury assets. We believe your expertise aligns with our mission, and we'd like to invite you as a guest on our podcast. Show our audience what's possible and provide the evidence to elevate their beliefs. If you're an expert in real estate, digital assets, or luxury assets, join us. Inspire our community, share your insights, success stories, and strategies. We would be honored to have you join us and be part of a movement that's changing lives. Together, let's unlock the secret to financial freedom and embrace abundance. Join us at Investor Den, where we're creating wealth through passive income investment. We're excited to have you as a guest and look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. This is Jorge Fajardo signing off from Investor Den.
Yeah, you're educated. You understand the underwriting side of it. When you saw those pro forma numbers, you're like, oh no. But a lot of people that are new don't understand the difference between a pro forma number and the actual numbers. And they see the pro formas and they're not understanding that those are guesstimates. And you really rung out something that was very important. So in Santa Monica last week, actually a week ago today, they passed a new law or a new regulation that said it could be a condo, a single family home, or apartment building. If you raise your rents more than 5% over CPI and your tenant moves out, you could have to pay relocation fees. And the minimum fee is $17,500. So you got to be smart. So if you have an Airbnb and you're doing 30 days or they want to go longer term, of course, you got to be careful. You got to understand your market. And there's many ways to get the education, and watching like your channel and doing what you're doing is very helpful for these people.
Yeah, no, and that's why we love speaking with people like you across the country that have that point of reference, that have that knowledge so that we can pass that value along. Now, from the brokerage to the syndication space, what are you focusing on more right now? Are you going more into the multifamily space or just single family rentals? What are you seeing in your market, or what are you specifically focusing on?
So we sold our buildings here in Southern California, our multifamily, and we've owned some property in Texas. And so we had a good number of small portfolio in Texas. We got a gentleman came in and wanted to buy the entire portfolio because we were very focused on one community that we knew was up and coming, because we've been watching this mall that's in Dallas, and this big family, multi-billion-dollar family, are bought it. They're going to completely fix it up. And I knew that they're going to start moving east with it. And so we were just east of that project. And so people started calling, go, hey, I'd like to buy your properties. And so we didn't have them on the market, but some guy came in and he goes, "I'd like to buy your properties." And just said, "Listen, they're not on the market. Our plan is to scrape them, redevelopment, add about 30% more units. And then we're going to talk about selling them." He goes, "What number are you looking at?" So we told him the number and he took. Now we found out later, and this is another cautionary tale. He was not only the syndicator, but he was a general contractor. So he front loaded all the fees, right? And then he didn't care if the property performed or not. His investors, I'm sure that property went back to the bank for what they paid for it and what they were going to do to it. It just made no sense. But so you got to be careful. But since we got out of multifamily in the areas that we choose to invest, where we have our team that we have put together, we're focused on single-tenant net lease deals. So we're in Dallas, Chase Banks we're looking at. We own Chase Banks, Jack in the Boxes, stuff like that. We're looking at some single-tenant net stuff. We're out there looking right now, but just no rush. We've got a good amount of cash sitting in the bank and waiting. So single-tenant net lease deals around the country is what we're looking at.
Okay, yeah, those are good.
Probably
On that, yeah, a lot of times, and I do love the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We were actually shopping around the Mansfield and that area out there. I think near where maybe you're mentioning, and
Yeah,
uh,
yes. We're at Richardson, North Dallas is where we like to focus. We'll go a little bit further north. Everything in Dallas is moving north. I mean, I made a huge mistake in Dallas about 7 years ago. I could have bought a small ranchette. It was like 30 acre. I think it was under 30 acres for 250,000. Cut to 4 years later, that property's worth probably $1.5 million, and I don't know what it's worth now. But I just didn't want to do the work. But it was a ranchette. It had a house that needed work. It had outbuildings that needed work. Property taxes in Texas are pretty high. So you've got to take all that into consideration. And so I decided not to, but man, am I kicking myself now. That would have been nice because everything's built up around it now.
yeah, you know what they say, hindsight's 2020,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. I didn't feel that I wanted to take all that on at the time. And I still think it's the right move, but I could sure financially kick myself for that. But where I was at and everything we had going, because we had a tech company at the time in Dallas, so I was running that. We had our properties there, I was running that. I just didn't need one more thing to do. And who knows what would have happened. So, but you're right. Hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. And so where do you see, just in general, obviously every market's different, but in general, especially when it comes to the multifamily space, you're hearing a lot about syndicators that now that it's like the old saying goes, when the tide goes out, you see who's caught with their pants down. And so you're seeing that some right now with some syndicators that when things were going great, maybe they were overpaying, maybe they had these adjustable rate mortgages that now basically are adjusting, and
Sure.
even at 100% occupancy, it's not covering the debt service. And so you're starting to see what everybody's been waiting for the last 18, 24 months in that space, where there's going to be a lot of distressed multifamilies from maybe not so experienced syndicators that perhaps overextended themselves. Where do you see the market going now for specifically in the multifamily space in general?
Sure. Yes, I had Rod Khalif. I don't know if Rod, he's there in
Yeah.
Florida as well.
Hey, he's here in Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Far from-
He's been somebody I have on regularly because when it comes to multifamily, yeah, he's on his A game. And he puts a lot of great content out for multifamily. I was talking to him and he's picked up a couple properties around the country and he's getting them from banks, and they're banks don't want to have these properties on the book. So for every dollar they have in bad loan, they've got to have $1 to $1.50 in reserves. So they want to get this off the books as fast as they can. So investors are able to go in and grab these properties. Now, some of the banks are doing workouts and blending and extending some of them, but I think there is going to be opportunity. I think there's a lot of people we saw it here in LA. People were just way overpaying for properties. And we tried to talk some of our investors out of it. Listen, when the interest rates go up, what's your plan here? I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, one of them said, and he's about 1.5 years away from crossing the bridge. So
Yeah.
we'll see what he does, but there is going to be a lot of opportunity. I think multifamily housing is always going to be a great space to be, but you've got to really look at your numbers. Again, I go back to it being such a local market. You better know what's going on in your community. You better know what's happening are there a bunch of properties coming on the market every day? If there's just a few, then you're probably might be okay. But I think there's going to be a lot of workouts with the loans. I don't think we're going to get a big flood of properties coming on, at least the way it sits right now. Things could change. It depends on what happens here with the economy. But as of right now, it's not looking as bad as I was originally expecting. So I think there is going to be a lot of opportunity for investment. It's just the loans are expensive right now.
Hi there, Investor Den. I know you're enjoying the episode, but I have an important message I want to share with you. If you've been following the podcast for a while, then it means one of two things. One, you aspire to have it all. You want to unlock your potential across all areas of your life and achieve true freedom, physically, mentally, and financially. And two, you're an investor or an aspiring investor, and you have chosen to use passive income as your wealth creation vehicle to achieve financial freedom. Well, I have something exciting to share with you. We have put together an incredible resource called the Blueprint to Financial Freedom ebook. In this book, we will show you the same strategies that we've used in our own business to grow from an initial investment of only $1,000 to an impressive 8-figure portfolio with assets under management. In it, you'll discover how to acquire cash flowing assets, how to generate 6-figure passive income, and even how to access the capital you need to kickstart your investment journey. This ebook is packed with practical tips, step-by-step guidance, and real-life examples that will empower you to take control of your financial future. And the best part, it's absolutely free. So take a moment to click the link in the description below and grab your copy of the Blueprint to Financial Freedom ebook. It's time to take charge of your financial destiny. We're excited to join you on this journey to financial freedom. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, to a lesser extent, you're seeing similar to what happened back in 2008 in the single family space.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think people were expecting to see a big wave of distressed properties in multifamily this go around. And I think the banks are trying to hold that back a bit. But at the end of the day, you're right. I had an old mentor tell me all the time, it's the banks are in the space of lending money. They're in the space of managing properties and managing real estate. And so they would rather get it off their books as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. And so it's about going back to the whole education aspect of it and positioning yourself properly, understanding the market, and being in the right place at the right time. And it's where luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. So you have to be prepared, and that's how you're going to come across these great deals.
Oh, and it's every deal we bought in Texas was 100% of the deals was an out-of-state owner that hired a local property management company, and the property management company had been taking advantage of those investors. So when you're going out and you're going to buy in another state, you want to make sure you get a property management company that is on their A game and you can really trust them, because the tricks that I've seen played on out-of-state investors or out-of-town investors, it's terrible. I mean, there were units that were vacant, showing as vacant, but they were actually occupied and they were paying the property management company directly.
Yeah, and they're just pocketing the money.
Yeah, they're pocketing the money. Maintenance guy was living in a free unit, and it turns out he wasn't even working on that property. He's working on another one they own down the street. It's just, you've got to, boots on the ground. You got to show up, surprise inspections, talk to everybody in the community, see what's going on. Don't think multifamily is not passive investing.
100%. And I think that's why it's so important ourselves. We belong to a lot of different communities. We go to a lot of investor communities. We go to a lot of masterminds. When we invest out of state, we make sure that we're partnered with boots on the ground, or that we at least have solid references from other investors that have been working with that management company and that they're vetted and reputable. And so I think that's also very important. It's not, investing is a contact sport. You have to be involved, but you also have to surround yourself with other people that have the experience, that have the references, that know what they're doing in that market, so that hopefully you can avoid some of these different pitfalls.
And reach out and ask people questions. Like I said, I get people reaching out all the time asking questions. People may not respond to you, but you'd be surprised at the number of people that will take in a couple of minutes, respond back to you, and try and guide you. And also, if you can find a good mentor that is doing exactly what you want to do, offer to work for free. If you got an investor that's having success, but maybe they need to build up their marketing or their website, and that's something you know how to do, say, listen, I want to be mentored, but I'm willing to do this for you. And so bring value to them and
There you
then
go.
get
Yeah.
back and listen, be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It goes back to that sweat equity you were mentioning
Yeah.
before. How can you provide value? Come from a position of, listen, what can I do? What can I provide? Not so much, what can you do for me? And it'll
Mhm.
definitely take you a long way. And there's so much that we've just barely scratched the surface on that we could sit here for hours. I can already tell. And
Well, we
so,
can do this again. I'm only good for it. Just always let's get together and let's do it again.
yeah, no, you beat me to the punch. I'd love to
Yeah.
have you back and continue sharing some of these nuggets because I think it's just invaluable. It's you make money when you buy,
Yeah.
and so listening to someone such as yourself that has that kind of experience, that's priceless. And we really want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Do you have any parting thoughts or words for our audience as we get ready to sign out here?
Just be educated on your investments. It's really understand what you're getting into. I think I got lucky in our first one. Our second one was a complete flop. We had success in the first one. Second one, 3-story walk up. Never buy a 3-story walk up unless it has an elevator. Nobody wants to carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs. It's just be smart about what you're doing. I think we just had a big exit and we thought we knew everything and we were 20 something years old. And boy, did we get our ass handed to us on that one. So yeah, education is the key.
Yep, it sure is. Thank you so much, Joe. Again, I appreciate it. Let's definitely do it again. And so tell us again where people can find you so that they can continue to learn more from
You bet. You can go to joekillinger.co like we have on a screen here, and you'll see the YouTube channel there as well. Or my email is joe@joekillinger.co. Reach out and ask anything. Happy to help is whatever you need.
Excellent. There you have it, guys. That's what you got to do. You got to learn from the experts like Joe, and that'll take you a long way. So thanks again, Joe. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Anytime. Thank you, George.
Thanks a lot.
Hey there, awesome listeners of Investor Den's Blueprint to Financial Freedom podcast. We just wanted to take a moment to express our immense gratitude for allowing us to be a part of your journey towards becoming a successful investor and living your best life. If you found this episode valuable, please share with a friend who's interested in generating wealth through passive income and wants to achieve greatness in all areas of life. And if you really loved it, feel free to share it on your social media as a post or a story. As a thank you, we have a special gift for those who help spread our message. And if you share this episode, simply send me a message on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and let me know. You'll receive a special surprise as a token of our appreciation. And once again, thank you for being a part of our podcast family. Stay tuned for more episodes packed with valuable insights and strategies. Together we'll unlock financial freedom and create a community of empowered individuals.